Welcome to another episode of the Root of Everything podcast. Today we're going over why you shouldn't compare your path to anyone. And we're going to do that in three ways. We're going to understand that everybody has a different definition of success. Everybody has a different way of getting to their success. And everybody has different timing to their success.
Friends turn enemies, lovers turned into flings. As I grow older, I'm cutting off these loose strings and moving on to better things, hoping it'll better me. Some things you just know and some things are never seen. Some peasants will get crowned, some kings won't ever be. Evidently, I'ma shine inevitably. It ain't a young out that's better than me. And when they say they go hard, I laugh hysterically.
There's one word I really hate using and I really hate hearing from other people, and that word is success. And the reason I really hate it, I don't know if hate is the right word, but I just really don't like the use of it because it is misused all the time. And I think it's because people truly don't understand what success means or successful means. I look at success when somebody says it, and I look at it as somebody putting things in a box. I look at fulfillment and the reason to do things put into a box, and somebody else putting their envisionment of what life should be on you when they say you are successful if you do it this way, you're successful if you do it that way. And I think success truly is when you go for a goal and you achieve a goal that you actually want, not a goal that somebody else wants or a goal somebody has a standard for of getting to. I believe success is when you actually obtain a goal you want. An example of that is if you watch any sports and you watch a team go through the season and there's this outstanding player, probably the best player in the world in that sport, maybe just the most, popular with the media in that season, but they win MVP. That person wins MVP in that year, but their team didn't win the championship that year. And they get up to the podium and they're like, "Congratulations, you're so successful, blah, 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 blah." And they're like, "We didn't win the championship. I mean, I'll take this. I'm proud of this. It means a lot. But we didn't win the championship." And what they're saying basically is, you're telling me I'm successful. You're telling me I had success this season, but my goal wasn't to win the MVP. My goal was to win the championship. And in life, there's a lot of times when we're in life and we're trying to achieve somebody else's version of success, somebody else's definition of success. And we're saying, okay, this is what they think success is, but this is what I really want. And so when you achieve their goal and what you say, you're not going to be happy in it. There's some people at that podium, they're like, "Why are y'all so excited? I didn't win the championship." That's what I think success is. And you have to understand when you're looking at other people, you're looking at how somebody else is telling you that you should be doing this at this time, or why haven't you done this? But they don't understand what your vision of success is, your definition of success is. And I'm going to take this a step further with the athlete comparison. So when the athlete is saying, "Okay, I won MVP, but we didn't win championship. We didn't win the championship." And then the next year, maybe he doesn't get MVP, but they win championship. What I keep saying championship like that. They win the championship, right? And they got the champagne everywhere, and they won the championship. What happens next? What happens next after the championship? So he defined success as a championship. He said, this isn't success, not the MVP. The championship is. So let's say he worked his whole life to win that championship. That was his purpose with everything. That's what drove him to get to this point. What happens after the championship? And this is where I come in on my definition of success and successful, particularly. So when he reaches the championship and he wins the championship, he finishes his definition of success. What does he have left to live for? Does he continue living on? Does he go for another championship? He already kind of won one. You know what I'm saying? The real legends when it comes to sports are not the ones who win one championship. It's the ones who win 2, 3, 4, 5. What Bill Russell win, like 8, 9, 10, 11 of them? And there's a reason for that. Those guys' version of success isn't winning those championships. It's loving to play the game that they love. And through that love, they're just achieving all these championships because they love what they're doing. You see, if your version of success is this thing, a championship, then you're not going to be able to keep on going. And I think successful, especially the word successful, we look at successful. Look at the word success, I just defined it, reaching a desired goal. But successful, I'm saying that we're successful. Let's look at the word. At the end, there's a prefix or a suffix, whatever we learned in English class, but it's full. And if you combine success and full, that means to be fulfilled in success. And so when I look at fulfilled and success, that's like a whole lively thing. To be successful, that means your whole life is success. And what do we really value life to be in terms of the ultimate thing we can be in life? And I look at that and it's being happy. Being happy is the ultimate thing of success. Like forget what you think success is. I think truly when we look on everybody's life, we're all just trying to be happy. And so if you're successful, I believe that means you're happy. That means you're the most happy you can be. You're doing something you love every single day. That's successful. And those are the people who end up having all the achievements for the most part. And some of the people who don't have any achievements are more successful than somebody who's won 1 billion championships because they were doing it for some external reason. The real successful people are indulged in what they do. And so what does that mean? I still haven't finished explaining what I think successful is, because I figured out what successful is about what was it, like 10 months ago. What successful is, it isn't when you reach an achievement. It isn't when you get this many thing. I don't know. It's not a stat. It's when you start. Successful is when you start something. When you decide to live in your passion, when you decide to do something you love for the rest of your life, you have achieved everything there is to achieve. Everything after that was just a result of you becoming successful. You see, when you reach passion and deciding to do it every day, you're going to be happy. And that's what successful is. So just by starting to live in your passion and to do what you love, you've reached everything you need to. And everything after that, it's just you doing what you're supposed to do. And that's just you giving stuff for the outer world. You see what I'm saying? When I decided to do this, when I decided, yo, this is what I want to do. I still remember I was at a party and it just came upon me. It was like, Jamar, this is what you're going to do. Like, this is like, you can speak, you like inspiring people. Like, this is what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And that was my championship moment. That was my day. I was throwing up the champagne in the locker room like I won a championship, because I knew this is what I was going to do. I knew this is where all Jamar's stuff that he could do and what he loves is all mushed together. And so I was like, I'm successful today. It's not when I win an award or when I do this. That's for everybody else. That's for my mama to be proud of. That's for everybody else to see. But see, the problem is people are doing it for those things. People are living their lives for those things, and they reach those goals, they win that championship, and then there's nothing left to live for. And in reality, they probably weren't even happy getting there, and they're expecting all this happiness at the end, because that's what success is. We're all just chasing happiness, and they get there and it's not there. But see, if you decide to live in your passion and to do what makes you happy, that's successful. And you don't have to worry about anything. And it's funny, this conversation, it's not a conversation. Well, I'm having a conversation with you, but it's funny how this started, because this actually started when I was in a meeting with my school. My school wanted to make a mission statement, and they wanted to get keywords from the kids that they wanted in the mission statement. And one of the key things, I'm talking to y'all about how I hate the word success, and one of the key words was success brought up. And I was like, why in the world would you want to use success? So remember when I said that it puts it in a box. When somebody says success, the word in a general sense, it puts it in a box. And so when I was in the room, I sat back and I let everybody talk, because I have a powerful voice. I was like, let me let everybody talk before I scare everybody to death. Then they don't want me to say anything else. So I sat back and I was like, why would we use the word success in a general use? I don't believe in using success in like a mission statement or any of that stuff, because at the end of the day, you have to put things in general uses where you're doing something like that, especially in a school. So when you say leading to success or doing this for success, what does that mean? You're literally saying we're doing stuff to get this quote unquote look of what you're supposed to do. When you're getting to success in the general sense, that's you doing something for somebody else's gratification. And that makes no sense to me. So my thing was, I was like, use innovation, use being independent thoughts or something like that, or where it was representing that you had the freedom to become who you wanted to be and not what somebody else wanted to be. You see, when we say that person is so successful, do you even know that? I believe it's impossible to tell somebody they're successful. I truly believe that the only person that can know success is yourself. That's the only person, because when that athlete is at the podium and he's like being congratulated by everybody and they're telling him he's successful, only he knows if he's truly successful. You see what I'm saying? And I know then nobody can do that. Nobody can say, unless you just got the keys to somebody's heart and knows if they're happy at that moment. But nobody can know that. And so please, I hope you stop from this video on, but understand that you can't tell anybody that they're successful, because if you're saying that, you don't know what it is. And I want all of you to chase being successful. I want all y'all to do that, but I want you to understand what that means. And if you understand what that means you'll do everything you can to find things in life that make you happy. And then when you find that, you will do it every single day. So understand that successful is BS when somebody uses it in a general sense. And I'm gonna say this one more time. I feel like I knew when I was making this video or this podcast that people would think I kind of got off kilter, but don't compare to anybody, because their version of success is different. So if successful is being happy, if doing something with success is something that is your own desired goal, if somebody's doing something else and they think this is what I think success is, blah, 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 and they say, Jamar, why aren't you doing it like this? I don't want what you want. I don't want to play this sport. I want to play this sport. So don't comment on me and don't look at him like, oh, dang, he doing good, blah, blah, blah. But he don't even want to do what you want. Or maybe he's successful at something that you want and he don't even truly want it. So maybe he's not even doing it the right way. So don't compare yourself, because you don't know what somebody else's version of success is, and you will never know that. So take it. What am I trying to say here? So don't really take nothing you see from anybody, because you have your own definition of success and everybody has a different definition of success. And I think there's a quote that sums this up. It's from Albert Einstein. He says, everybody is a genius, but if we judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will believe its whole life that it is, dang it, I forgot the end of it. It will believe its whole life that it's stupid, basically. If a fish is over here being compared by everybody else and saying, dang, he can't climb the tree like we climb the tree, but the fish is trying to swim. So find your pool and swim in it, and don't care if they're climbing the tree. And understand that everybody is a genius in their own definition of success. So don't compare to anybody else when they don't even have the same definition of success. Now, there's a possibility that somebody may have the same definition of success as you. And you're like, well, Jamar, I can compare to them. Well, the next step is having a different plan to get to that success. Just because you have the same success, you could have a different way of getting there. So let's get to the next segment. I don't care if y'all have the same goals. I promise you, for about 99% of the time, you won't have the same game plan to get into that goal. Y'all all the same test center. Y'all all taking the same test. Y'all all trying to get an A. Don't copy any fool's test. You might have different answers. You might have a different sheet of paper with different order of your questions. And you might have a better way of getting to each answer. Don't copy somebody else's, because you need to understand that there's a billion different ways to get to a goal. There's a billion different ways to get to your success. So maybe, you might have the same success as somebody, the same version of success you're trying to get to. But I promise you there's a different way. And you might not even know truly what your success is in the end game. Success is happiness. But your end game, you're like, this is where I end up getting to. You don't truly know what that is. So understand that your game plan is always going to be changing. You can't copy somebody else's. You have to realize, by doing it differently and going through these bumps and bruises of what your path is giving you, is going to make you even greater in the long run. You see, I'll give y'all another sports example. I'm really on sports today. But in the NBA, for a long time, it was, you have a big man, and that's how you win a championship. You throw the ball in the paint, you get a guy, work the post game, that's how you win a championship. And that's how you do it. Don't do it differently. You draft a big man, blah, 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 blah. And guess what? I watched the NBA draft the other day. They didn't want to draft one big man except for James Wiseman. But all you could hear them saying is the big man over in the NBA? And the reason we're at this point, and the reason we have 7-foot point guards in the NBA shooting the basketball, not just in the paint, is because somebody decided to say, there's a different way of winning this championship. There's a different way of winning this game. You see, all NBA coaches have one goal, and that's to win a championship. But they have different styles of getting there. And back in the day, there was one style, and it was have a big man throw it down there. The big man stays in the paint. The big man doesn't shoot in three-pointers, and that's how you win basketball games. And now it's completely different because somebody said there's a different way to get there. And so now we have everybody on the outside of the court trying to shoot three-pointers. Big men have to be able to dribble the ball, shoot the ball, and everything. Because now that's the efficient way to shoot the ball. That's the efficient way to win championships. And guess what? By somebody saying it's a different way to get there, not only did they win a championship, but they changed the whole culture. They changed the whole sport in general and how everybody plays the game. Now instead of kids wanting to dunk the ball, they want to shoot a three-pointer and say Curry after they finish shooting it. That's revolutionary. That is revolutionary. Now, you might be able to get a cheat sheet. You might not even get to where that person got. But if you do your own way, that's made for you, then you could possibly change the world. You could possibly do something that has more than just you winning. Another kid wins. Another kid feels a responsibility to do just like you. But then he needs to realize, I can even do something different. But you can have a great effect on the world. You see, I think a lot of times when we're going through our life and trying to reach success and we're trying to be the best we can be, we're hit with this thing that a lot of people tell us, and it's that history repeats itself. And that things just going to keep happening the way they are because that's just the way things are. But I got something for y'all. History might repeat itself, but the world evolves. And you can choose which side of the sentence you fall on. You can decide if you want history to keep repeating itself. And you can decide if you're just going to keep doing the same thing everybody else did and maybe get half of the success they did. Or maybe none of it. Or you can decide to blaze your own path, to do something different, and to understand, okay, if I do things like everybody else, then I'm just going to end up like everybody else. But if I do something that's never been done before and do something that's made for me, then my potential is going to be infinite, you know what I'm saying? And I'm passionate about this. It's pretty simple. So don't look at somebody else's plan. And honestly, if you're truly passionate about it, you should be innovative about it. You should be thinking of all the different ways to do it. Now, I can understand you really want to reach this goal or whatever it is. So you want to learn from other people that have reached this goal. You want mentors. You should be striving to get as many mentors as possible. You should be striving to have like-minded people around you. But everything you hear from them, everything they tell you, everything about, yo, I did it this way, you know, I did it this way, it should be a grain of salt. Everything you get, it could be, you want to be the best basketball player in the world and you have Michael Jordan, it should be a grain of salt. Because I can guarantee you didn't grow up like Michael Jordan. You didn't have the same preferences of Michael Jordan. So you have a different way of getting there. You probably have different positives in your life that are going to get you and get you motivated to where you want to be. So you have to take everything with a grain of salt. And when I talk to my mentors, I'm listening to them. And I'm like, okay. And I walk out of there and I do it completely different sometimes. And that's just what it is. And if they truly are great mentors, they will understand, yo, Jamar's not me. He's him. And he's got to achieve his goals for him. We just talked about it. I have a different definition of success. We could have similar definitions of success, but I got to achieve my definition of success, and I got to achieve it through my plan, or it's not even going to be my success at that point. It's going to be their success. You got to look at your life and understand that you have this body inside of you. You have this persona about you. You have this uniqueness about you that nobody can take from you. And within that, there's different ways you get to where you want to be. There's different ways you learn things. Some people, they go to school and they can't learn it with the teacher just lecturing them. Some people can't learn it in certain ways. Some people read a book and they need the audio for it. Some people need things different ways. Learn the ways you learn things. Learn the way you do things are most effective. Learn the ways that motivate you. If you need to do it this way, this way. There's nothing wrong with listening to somebody else and they're saying, yo, when I did it this way, it worked. Try it out. And if it's not it, it's not it. Don't just keep doing it because they were successful when they did it. You have to find your way to success. And if you don't, you'll end up being somebody else's success or half of it. If you're doing what they're doing, you're probably not even going to do what they're doing as good as they are doing because that was meant for them. And then the thing is, if we get some information from them, you don't even know if it's right for them. You don't even know if it's right in general. They could have been using something else and they just secretly telling you what their road to success was. So find your own road to success and understand that you have to get educated with what you're trying to do. You have to learn about the topic you're trying to do your whole life on. If you want to play football, you got to learn everything about football. But I got a message for y'all. Education is key, but self-education is the key to freedom. I said freedom weird. Freedom. And what I mean by that is you have to get all this knowledge about what you want to do. You have to be so passionate about what you're doing that you want all the knowledge when it comes to that. And with that passion, with what you want to do, you want to do it the best you can. But the thing is, you can accumulate all this knowledge about it. But if you don't educate yourself on who you are, then you can't even make a map or a plan for what you're trying to do. So while educating and learning about the topic you really want to learn about is great, but self-education and understanding and being aware of who you are and connecting that with your passion and then to your purpose, the end goal, that's how you get there. And not comparing to anybody's, because you have the self-education to know this is how I do things. So even if, you would surprise me if you're at this point, but if you have the same definition of success, and then somehow, some way, y'all got the same way of getting there, I truly doubt it. I promise you the timing ain't gonna be the same. Let's get into it. There is no such thing as early or late. Everything is right on time, and I can tell you that from experience. And for proof, you can watch any future movie or any type of time traveling movie where somebody was changing the past and then going back to the future, seeing how things were. And if you ever seen somebody, or you can watch Back to the Future or whatever, you ever seen somebody go back to the past, and whether it's just squishing a fly, the future's changed and everything about their lives is different. And so what I'm trying to say with that is, no matter what you're going through in life, no matter what's going on in your life, you're like, man, why isn't this happening yet? Blah, blah, blah. Why am I having this bad experience? It was meant and is there for a reason. And it was at that specific time for a reason. So take everything you have in your life, everything that's happened to you, everything in the present tense that's happening to you right now, and embrace it. Did I say that weird? I don't know. Embrace it. Embrace everything that's going on in your life, because that's setting you up for your future. That's setting you up for your story that you're going to be able to tell somebody that's going to inspire them. That's setting you up for the motivation you need at night when you're trying to get up in the morning. That's setting you up for everything you have coming up in your future. And so when you're comparing yourself, I'm breaking it off to comparing. When you're comparing yourself to somebody else and you're saying, man, why did they get that job and I didn't? Why did they get this at this time when I've been grinding the same amount as them and they got it earlier? You don't know the prefaces to whatever got them to that point. You don't know if their uncle worked for the company and they got them hired because they knew him. You don't know if he truly grinded the same amount as you. You don't know if he was up at 3 a.m. while you were sleeping and grinding even harder than you. And you don't know if you were truly meant to even have that opportunity at this time, because you might be needing to have a rejection so you can find another passion that you love to do that truly is what you need to be doing. You can never know. And we can go all day about why you can't be comparing yourself, but at the end of the day, you can be early or late or whatever you want to call it. You were meant to be early at this time. Your mom was meant to pick you up late so you could be mad, and that fuels this, and then you realize this. Everything was supposed to happen. Everything was supposed to happen early or late, because now when it came early, you're able to realize, no, I needed to wait on this. You see, when I was supposed to come out with this whole podcast, and my girlfriend laughing, she listened to it right now. But when I was creating this podcast, I was like, yo, because I was going to Miami the next week. I was like, yo, I need to drop a podcast so I can go to Miami on my spring break little trip, and I need to drop it right now so I can promote it, on the ground and stuff. And as I look back on it, that was really early, and she ended up convincing me not to do it. And that was for a good reason. It was the right timing for me not to use it. So when COVID happened, which I wasn't expecting, then I had all this time to work on the podcast. And I didn't know that was going to happen, but that was the timing of life. It said, yo, this is what's going to happen. And I embraced it. I had all these internships lined up. I was going to work for NASCAR, blah, 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 blah. Yo, it's canceled. So I was like, okay, perfect. I'm about to work on the podcast every day. And I did work on it every day. And you know what it turned into? It turned into more than just something I thought was cool and I wanted to do. It turned into a passion. It turned into a deep realization of who I am as a person. It turned into everything. It turned into me even knowing what I want to do with the next day of my life. You see what I'm saying? I can go on and on about what this podcast means to me and what it means to just be talking on here. But I knew it was deeper than that, and I knew I needed to really focus on this because this is probably one of the most important things I've ever done. So while I was writing in all my journals, writing what I wanted to talk to y'all about, my dad would come in, because I'm back home for the summer for the longest period of time since I was a senior in high school. and they know it. I was tired of being at home, but I'm working on my podcast, and my dad's like, man, why are you taking so long to drop the podcast? Drop the podcast. But he didn't know I just went through this whole journey knowing, okay, you need to slow down. This is probably one of the most important things you need to do in your life. Man, just drop the podcast. But joking with me, my dad supported me. My dad bought this camera I'm filming this thing on right now. You know what I'm saying? My dad was like, man, drop it. What you doing? Stalling? You just trying to wait. You're afraid to do it. He just trying to pump me up. But the thing is, he didn't know the full journey of what I'm being on. He didn't know truly what this meant to me yet. And he was starting to learn every single day when I would work on this, every single day when there was no really physical thing about this podcast yet. He was starting to learn, there's something deeper than this. And to this day, when we get further and further with this, he's starting to understand how much more I'm really seeing this vision. And I could go on and on again about the vision I see with this thing. But it's more than what I see it as. It was about the journey I got through it to get to this point. I said that kind of weird with weird grammar. But it was a journey before this. And there was something that only I really knew about this journey that I've been through. And only a few people really knew that. So nobody could really tell me or give me real advice on it truly, because I'm the only one who knew what's been going on. So when you're looking at other people, maybe in the same lane as you, again, same success definition, same plan, so to speak, not really possible, but you have a different journey in the end, and you have a different way you're going to get there. You have a different definition of success possibly, but only you know what was the preface of what's going on here. And so when you're not receiving your timing, when everything's not happening on time, so to speak, understand it is on time. And understand that there's only two things. I'm going to end this little John a little early because I feel like I already summed it up. And G Herbo summed it up in his last album, PTSD, pretty well. G Herbo said this thing. He said, there's only two reasons you ain't gotten to where you want to be. He said, either you haven't fully committed to yourself to where you want to be, or you're just, let me start this over. I gotta say it right for G Herbo. Either you haven't fully committed to yourself to where you want to be, or you just, dang it, I keep messing it up. Dang it. Okay, let me just read it off the paper for y'all. Either you haven't fully committed yourself to where you want to be, or your time just ain't come yet. I know I messed up a bunch of times, but that's all it is. If you ain't got there yet, either you just ain't committed yourself. Maybe you're just not passionate about it. Maybe this shit ain't what you need to be doing. But if this is what you need to be doing, and this is what you love to do, then it's going to come, because you're not going to stop doing it because it's what you love doing. So continue doing what you love, and don't compare yourself to anybody else, and understand you only have one path, and it's for you. You only have one definition of success, and it's for you. And you only have one chance at life. And that chance at life is going to be timed particularly to you. And you were born at this time for a certain reason. You're born in this life space in a certain reason. Understand that, and go about your life understanding that nobody can understand you truly, because you are you and only you understand you. That's it for this episode of the Root of Everything podcast.